Welcome. My name is Trisha Morris, and I would like to welcome you to my channel, Mathematics Simplex, where you will be able to view videos you might find difficult in your mathematics class. Today I'll be doing algebra. I know for some persons, when they hear of algebra, they're rather nervous or they can't be bothered, but it's not as hard as what you think. So let us talk about the addition of variables. So say, for example, I have 2x plus 3x. We know that we keep the variable and we add the 2 plus the 3 and we'll get 5. Now, if I have 3x minus 2x, again, you can just leave the variable and subtract the number. So 3 take away 2, I'm left with 1. So some persons might write it as 1x, while some persons will write it as x. So if I have 4x minus 5x, so this is where students find it hard to figure out what is the answer. Now, you have learned at one point that when I have the same sign, so if I have positive 4 plus 5, you can quickly see it is 9. While if I say minus 4 minus 9, it will give me negative 9. But what about if I have minus 4 plus 5 or positive 4 minus 5? So this is what I like to tell students. When the signs are the same, we add. So these are two positives, so we add and keep the sign. When the signs are negative, we add and keep the sign. But when the signs are different, we subtract and keep the sign of the bigger number. So this is positive and negative, so I will be subtracting. So 5 take away 4, I'm left with 1, but because this is the bigger number, it will be a positive 1, while 4 take away 5, here we're just going to do the same thing when we subtract. So it's 5 take away 4, I'm left with 1, but the 5 is a bigger number, so we keep the sign of the 5 on the 5, so we get negative 1. So if I have 4 take away 5, I know it's going to be minus 1x or negative x. Suppose we have 3x minus 2y. Can we simplify this? That's the question you should be thinking. No, it can't. Why? Because this is x and this is y. When the variables are not the same, we cannot add or subtract, so nothing can be done here. It is done. But suppose we have 3x minus 2y minus 5x plus 3y. Suppose we have that. This is where we say we group like terms. So the 3x minus 5x, then we have minus 2y plus 3y. So let us simplify. We have 3x minus 5x. Remember, I said when the signs are different, we subtract and keep the sign of the bigger number. So looking at this, the bigger number is a 5. So let us write the variable first, which is x. So let us subtract. 5 take away 3, you should be saying 2. But because the 5 has a negative, it's going to be negative 2. I have minus 2 and I have positive 3. So 3 is a bigger number, so it's going to be a positive value that we're going to have here. So write the positive and the variable. So I have minus 2 plus 3. It means I'm going to subtract, so 3 take away 2, I'm left with 1. Suppose we have 3xy plus 2xy. Still, once we're adding, we write out the variable. So we have the xy, and then we say 3 plus 2, that will be 5. So if I have 4x squared y plus 5x squared y, then it means this will be, first write about the variable x squared y, and then add the 4 plus the 5, and we'll get 9. If we have 2xy minus 7xy, it's the same concept. You write back the xy, subtract, and keep the sign of the bigger number. So you have 2 minus 7y, so this is going to be minus 5y. So even if I have 5p minus 2q plus 2 minus 4p plus 5 plus 3q, and we're asked to simplify this expression. The first thing that you need to do is group like terms. So let's look at the like terms. We have 5p minus 4p, because those are the p's. We group the q's together, so we have minus 2q plus 3q, and the constant, which is 2 plus 5. So 5p minus 4p, that is going to give us, remember, signs are different, we subtract and keep the sign of the bigger number. So you should be able to say it is 1p. So write about the p, 5 take away 4, I'm left with 1. You have minus 2q plus 3q. Signs are different, so again, we're going to subtract and keep the sign of the bigger number. So leaving the variable, and we have 3 take away 2, I'm left with 1. And because 3 is the bigger number, that is why I'll have a positive sign. And 2 plus 5 gives me 7. So let's get used to writing it as p plus q plus 7. So once you're not seeing anything in front of the p, then it means the coefficient is 1. Say we have 5x minus 3x plus 2y plus 2ac minus 5r plus 3ac. Again, we are going to group in like terms. This is already grouped together, so if you want to go ahead and simplify this, that's fine, but I will be just rewriting it. So I have 5x minus 3x. If you realize we don't have any other 2y, and that's okay, we just write it back as it is. Then we have 2ac plus 3ac, and then we have 5r. So simplifying this, 5x minus 3x, that is 2x plus 2y plus 3 plus 2, that's 5ac minus 5r. Now let us do expanding and simplify. So if I have 4 times x minus 3, we are going to expand, clear the bracket, so we see 4 times x, that is 4x. Then 4 times negative 3, that's negative 12. If we have 2 open bracket 3 minus 4y, yes, once you're seeing a bracket, you have to go ahead and expand, meaning we need to get rid of the number that's outside the bracket and distribute it within the bracket. So we multiply 2 times 3 and then 2 times 4y. So 2 times 3, that gives me 6. Then 2 times negative 4y. Now listen, you are not going to multiply the 2 times a 4, then the 2 times a y. That is incorrect. What you're going to do is multiply the number by the number that is in front of the y. And just remember, the number in front of the y, it is called the coefficient. So 2 times negative 4, that's negative 8, and I write back my y. And that is it. So if we have x times x plus 1, no. This requires a little bit of indices. So if you haven't watched my indices videos, please pause, review, and return. No, we are going to multiply. So we multiply x times x, it becomes x squared. X times 1, that gives you positive x. Here we have another example, x times x squared plus 4x. So expanding this bracket, we'll have x times x squared. Again, indices, we add the power, so there's really a power 1 here. So it becomes x cubed. Then x times 4x, that gives me 4x squared. Now looking at this, look closely. Can we go further? I'm hoping you say no. Because this is x cubed and this is x squared, they're unlike terms, so we can't go any further. So if we have 2 times 3p plus 2 minus 3 times 2p minus 2. Now, looking at this, we have to clear the bracket. So multiplying 2 times 3p, and you should be seeing by now 6p. As I explained earlier, that we multiply the 2 times the 3 and we arrive at 6, right? But rewrite the variable. Then we have 2 times 2, that gives me positive 4. Negative 3 times 2p, that's negative 6p. Then negative 3 times negative 2, that is positive 6. Looking at this, you should be seeing something. But if you're not, let's go further. Group like terms. So I have 6p minus 6p. Then I have positive 4 plus 6. So this is what I'm expecting you to already recognize from the above step, that these two cancel. So we have 4 plus 6, that gives me 10. Now, here we could have x times x squared minus 3y minus 4x squared times 2x plus 4y. Again, we're going to expand. So expanding this, we're going to see x times x squared, that's x cubed, x times 3y, realize this is a variable, times a number and a variable. We're going to write minus 3 and then just attach the x to the y. Multiplying 4x squared times 2x squared. Looking at this, we have a number times a number, so minus 4 times positive 2, that's negative 8. X squared times x, that will give us x cubed. Then multiplying the next two together, negative 4 times positive 4, that's negative 16. X squared times y gives you x squared y. Now looking at this, we can group the x cubed and the negative 8x cubed because they are the only like terms. Now looking at the 3 minus 3xy, it kind of looks like the minus 16x squared y, but really and truly it's not. Because this has a square, while the 3xy, there's no power other than 1. So the x cubed minus 8x cubed, then we have minus 3xy minus 16x squared y. Now, x cubed minus 8x cubed. Remember, once we're subtracting, you write back the variable, you rewrite the variable. So you have x cubed. And for persons who don't remember, that means there's a 1 as a coefficient of the x cubed. So once the signs are different, we subtract, keep the sign of the bigger number. So subtracting, we have 1 take away 8. I will be having 7, well, negative 7. I'll have negative 7. And just remember, subtract, keep the sign of the bigger number. So 8 take away 1, I'm left with 7. And then we keep the sign of the bigger number, which is the negative sign. These two, however, are unlike terms because this is minus 3xy. There's no square on the x, so it's not the same as this because this is x squared y and this is xy. So we continue to write it as it is, and that is it. Here we have another example, and let us start by expanding. So we're clearing the bracket. So we have 3x times 4x squared. Now the 3 times the 4, we get 12. And the x times x squared gives us x cubed. Then we multiply the next two. So you have 3 times negative 2, that's negative 6. And x times y gives us xy. Then negative 4x times x cubed. So we have a 1 in front of this x cubed. So we say negative 4 times 1 to give us negative 4. And x times x cubed gives you x to the 4th. Then we multiply minus 4x times 3y. So you have negative 4 times negative 3, that is positive 12, and x times y gives you xy. So the only like terms, this is x cubed and this is x squared, it is not the same. So we can't go any further with these two, but minus 6x and 12xy, they are like terms, so we can go ahead and group them. So what I'll write is a 12x cubed. And then I have minus 6xy plus 12xy minus 4x to the fourth. Then we have 12x cubed. Signs are different, so we subtract. Keep the sign of the bigger number. So 12 take away 6. I'm left with 6. But this is the bigger number and it's positive. So I have positive 6xy minus 4x to the fourth. And that's it. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe.